This is Soul Television News. I am Nena Igwe. Making headlines, Senate Deputy Chief Whip advocates devolution of power in the ongoing constitutional amendment. 44 fresh terrorism financiers convicted in Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, the U.S. resumes military supplies to Ukraine. Now the details of the stories. The Senate Deputy Chief Whip and Senator representing Ebonyi North Zone, Senator Ebonyi has advocated resource control, devolution of powers, state police, and creation of additional states and local government in the Southeast geopolitical zone. The senator disclosed this while interacting with journalists in Abuja. The report. Senator Ebonyi, who is also the chairman of 1999 Constitutional Amendment Southeast Zone, said Southeast Zone deserves to be treated fairly and justly in terms of state and local government creation, and insisted that he would always defend the rights and benefits of the zone. The Senate Deputy Chief Whip, while speaking on resource control, devolution of powers and state policing, emphasized that there was need for states to have greater autonomy, tailored governance, and improved security architecture.
Before now, the general view of most elites is that the states, the federative states, should have the powers to manage the resources within their domain, thereby removing most of what is in the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list, where the state can actually, make law upon.
He solicited support from other regions in the country for the implementation and actualization of his requests for the creation of additional states and local government in the Southeast Zone.
State government is giving the room to man the solid minerals. Government will make more money. And I tell you, the royalty and taxes that the state government will pay will be better and greater than what the Federal Minister of Mines is getting as IGR. From the solid minerals. So these are the critical areas Nigerians are talking about, and I must tell you, in the course of wider consultation, we may be looking towards that.
All right, let's look at the issue of state creation. In the Southeast particularly, for many years, there's been talk of
the senator forecasts a brighter future for the people of Southeast Zone in President Tinubu's administration. The bill for the establishment of the Federal Polytechnic of Skills and Vocational Studies, BK initiated by the Senate Deputy Chief Whip and Senator representing the Ebonyi North Zone, has scaled through second reading. The senator received commendation from the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, for the wonderful job. The report. Senator Ebonyi, while leading the debate for the bill during plenary, said skill and vocational studies are crucial in contemporary age because they equip citizens of the country with practical, job-ready skills, bridge the gap of unemployment, foster entrepreneurship, and contribute to national development.
The future of every child is dependent on the kind of education the child is given. It is also unarguable that our educational curriculum today remains heavily loaded with theories than skills that solve contemporary society problems. Today also, our universities produce thousands of graduates annually with little or no practical skills required by today's labor market.
Various contributions, Senator Ojozo Kalu, Senator Ashiru, and Senator Osita Ungu advocated speedy passage of the bill to promote and enthrone employment opportunities, self-reliance, and economic breakthrough among citizens of the country.
I support this bill that the Federal Polytechnic of Skill and Vocational Studies should be established in Ebonyi State, not only for benefit of people of Ebonyi State, but for people of Cross River who are very close to the place, people of Enugu State who are also very close, and Benue and Abia, and even Akwa Ibom, where the Senate President comes from. It will rub on you, Mr. President.
This institution being proposed
is not only germane to development of the people, but it is germane to taking the people of Nigeria to the next century.
The level of unemployment that we have in this country today has gotten a worrisome stage that we have to look for a way to get our youths engaged.
Senator Ebonyi also sponsored the bills for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Ebonyi State, which is already at the front burner. The Executive Director, Demio XXY Youth Development Foundation, Mrs. Peace George, has charged youth to embrace skills that will assist them in the future after the completion of their higher education. The Executive Director stated this during a one-day sensitization of students from various secondary schools across the state, tagged After WAEC Conference 2025. The report.
Addressing participants in their thousands, Mrs. Peace George, a joint graduate from various secondary schools across the state, to use the opportunity they had after writing their WAEC and NECO to learn one skill or the other instead of wasting their precious time while waiting to gain admissions into higher institutions, and urge parents and guardians to always allow their children and wards to choose their course of study when getting admission into the university.
This regular formal education it's still there, but it's passing away. So we want them to learn, the area of skill acquisition, digital skills, getting certifications, and preparing them for the world out there. So that's basically the emphasis. So for me, my advice to them is, number one, personal development, capacity building is very important. Then secondly, very, very important for them to begin to take intentional steps towards fulfilling their potential, maximizing their potentials and fulfilling their destinies. And then most importantly, building a solid work with God.
Resource persons including the State Director General, Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency, Dr. Stephen Odo, the lecturer, Department of Anatomy, Alas Ekome Federal University, Ndufuali Kiko, Mrs. Temuno Ibeleme Kokgam, and Ms. Joy Obonaya, Ms. Angela Ekoma of EBBC. Lecture participants on academic excellence, bank account opening, enterprise, and the role of youth in small medium enterprises in economic development.
Every child that has to be successful has to have a skill, have to have a service, have to have a product to sell. Even if my child is delayed for 1 year to get a skill before getting to the university, it is not a waste.
So it is necessary that you have the adequate knowledge when you are seeking admission to university for a particular course, and also have someone that will guide you through. Getting that knowledge is important and necessary to save you a lot of trouble.
Participants including Master Delight Igwe from Ebonyi State University Secondary School, Ms. Ruth Obona from Hodges International School, and Ms. Judy Tobaga thanked the organizers of the event and described the event as educative, action-packed, and appeal for insuccess in subsequent years, as well as promise to take what they learned from the seminar back home. Highlights of the event were presentation of skill acquisition by Model Comprehensive Girls Secondary School, Ugwachara, presentation of awards and grants, question and answer session on sexual purity, inter-school speech contest, academic seminar, among others. Participating students were drawn from Node Secondary School, Holy Ghost Secondary School, Girls High School Aziyoku, among others. Emmanuel Onyebe, SOT TV News.
Welcome back. The Ogun State government says it has secured the conviction of 3 ritual killers in the Kuba area of the state capital, Abeokuta. The government says this has become imperative to curtail, if not completely eradicate, the unwholesome practice of human ritualism. The report.
This was contained in a press release signed by the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in the state, Oluwasina Ogunbade San. Ogunbade said that the trio of Mustakim Balogun, Saladin Majik, and Lukman Abdul Ghaffar are to face the full wrath of the law owing to their gruesome act of killing Sophia Okeo. They were arrested after the dastardly act which occurred on January 28, 2022, when Mustakim Balogun lured 16-year-old Sophia to have carnal knowledge of her and later strangled her in preparation for a premeditated money ritual. The commissioner further stated that the present administration's determination not to give any room for crime to thrive prompted the state's effort towards securing the conviction of the three criminals to serve as a deterrent to other ritualists. Mr. Kim Balogun and Sodun Majik were sentenced to death by hanging, while Lukman Abdul Ghaffar received a life sentence.
The federal government has continued to bolster its criminal justice system by securing convictions for 44 out of 54 individuals recently arraigned in the Phase 7 of the Kainji Detention Facility terrorism trial. The head of strategic communication, National Counter-Terrorism Center Office of the National Security Advisor, Mr. Michael Abu, disclosed this in a statement on Saturday in Abuja. Detail.
Mr. Michael Abu stated that the remaining 10 cases were adjourned during proceedings held across 4 courts presided over by 4 Federal High Court judges. He said the country had, with the recent 45 convictions, secured a total of 785 cases involving terrorism financing and other terrorism-related offenses. This, according to him, reflects the country's intensified efforts to combat violent extremism, dismantle funding networks, and strengthening national security through just judicial enforcement. The Attorney General of the Federation and Honorable Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, was represented by the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, Mohammed Babadoko Abubakar. Abu said that 273 cases were heard, resulting in 200 convictions in the Phase 6 trials, adding that the convicted terrorists received a range of sentences based on the severity of their crimes, from death penalty and life imprisonment to prison terms of 20 to 70 years. Their offenses included attacks on women and children, destruction of religious sites, killing of civilians, and abduction of women and children during a brutal assault on the Jina Karakai community in Borno State.
The International Criminal Court has stated that there are reasonable grounds to believe that war crimes and crimes against humanity have been committed in Western Sudan. The ICC said at the United Nations Security Council on Thursday that targeted sexual violence against women and girls of specific ethnicities were named as one of the most disturbing findings to emerge from the ICC investigation into crimes committed in Darfur. Detail.
War broke out between the Sudanese Army and the Rapid Support Forces (RSF) in April 2023, leading to what the UN calls devastating civilian casualties. International Criminal Court Deputy Prosecutor Nazar Shahim Khan said it was difficult to find appropriate words to describe the depth of suffering in the region. The ICC launched a fresh probe in 2033 after the nationwide conflict between the army and the Rapid Support Force broke out across the country, interviewing victims who had fled fighting in Darfur to neighboring Chad. Allegations of war crimes have persisted throughout the past 2 years, and in January 2025, the US determined that the RSF and allied militias had committed genocide against the region's non-Arab population. The RSF has denied the claims and said it was not involved in what it describes as a tribal conflict in Darfur. An escalating famine has gripped the region, with the UN's agency UNICEF reporting that more than 40,000 children were admitted for treatment due to severe acute malnutrition between January and May.
And finally, President Volodymyr Zelensky says U.S. has resumed military supplies to Ukraine after Washington halted some shipment of critical arms last week. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he has made a deal with NATO for the U.S. to send Patriot air defense system to Ukraine via the alliance after a surge of Russian aerial attacks. Detail.
Zelensky had raised concerns about the impact the pause would have on Ukraine's defenses, with supplies of Patriot systems and precision artillery shells among the armaments reported to have been stopped. Russia has stepped up drone and missile attacks on Ukrainian cities in recent weeks, causing a number of civilian casualties. Zelensky said in Rome on Thursday that Germany was ready to pay for 2 of the Patriot and Norway 1, while other European partners were also prepared to help. He touted new European defense packages in his Friday evening message, adding that Ukraine's military will be working with U.S. envoy Kate Kellogg in the coming week. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told reporters that he had urged allies, including Germany and Spain, to hand over some of their existing Patriot batteries as they could reach Ukraine faster. The renewed efforts to supply air defenses to Ukraine comes in the wake of a barrage of deadly area attacks, which have shown signs of increasingly frustrating the U.S. administration as it seeks a negotiated peace.
And with that story, we end the news at this hour. But before we go, a quick look at the major stories. The Senate Deputy Chief Whip and Senator representing the Ebonyi North Zone, Senator Ebonyi, has advocated resource control, devolution of powers, state police, and creation of additional state and local government in the Southeast geopolitical zone. We also brought you reports that the federal government has continued to bolster its criminal justice system by securing convictions for 44 out of 54 individuals recently arraigned in Phase 7 of the Kainji Detention Facility terrorism trial. And on the foreign scene, President Volodymyr Zelensky says U.S. has resumed military supplies to Ukraine after Washington halted some shipment of critical arms last week. Thanks for watching. I am Nenna Igwe.